Game of Thrones Season 3, Episode 7, The Bear, and the Maiden Fair. Another one.
Hmm.
Where'd you find this, son?
Damn, son, where'd you find this? Get it right, man.
I'm sorry. Shout out to LimeWire. What an era. What a day.
Ruined your computer, but
Yeah, every virus on the planet, but
your iPod was popping off.
as long as you got the W by Wu-Tang, explicit, you were set. I think in this episode, it's three of the best scenes that you're going to find in Game of Thrones between Jon and Ygritte. And not necessarily, I think in the second scene, it's Jon with Tormund and then Ygritte with Oral. But they kind of have their own mini arc in this one episode. And this first scene, it's Jon is starting to become more honest with Ygritte in terms of how the Wildlings kind of don't have a chance to defeat the Seven Kingdoms. And he's being a little bit more open. And in this first scene, they're discussing the difference in warfare between the Wildlings and the Seven Kingdoms and the way that they fight. It's really disciplined structure versus chaos and anarchy.
I don't know why it's so funny, but when she goes to John's like, you and your roads.
You and your,
It's like,
you and your roads and your maps and your science.
I don't know why, it just makes me laugh every time. Yeah, and he's explaining like the difference in wars and like just the Westerosis, how they do things with the drums and the banner holders.
Yeah.
And she's like, what the hell?
Do they even fight?
It's like, oh no, there's little kids. Like, it's no place for children.
It's a great honor to hold the banner for your house.
I love how they do that in medieval times. Like, yeah, it's a good honor to have no weapon and just stand there like a dumb fuck the whole time.
Yeah.
Or it's like, yeah, the vanguard, such a great honor. You get to die first.
Yeah, but it's kind of ridiculous the way that they fight, where they're in single file and they're all marching to the drums. And I love Ygritte too. Rose Leslie, I said this last review. She's just so good. Right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot.
I disagree though. Blackwater, when he screams drums.
They want to play music with us, let's play. Drums.
Drums!
So yeah, that wasn't about the rhythm.
That shit goes off.
That was just saying we got the sound system too, boys.
Yeah, we're ready.
If you want to bump. That was like in
it's like
Boys
nothing
in
will
the Hood.
stop us. We're going to go and we're going to take this castle unless something crazy happens
Yeah,
and all
unless
our
they've
ships
got some-
explode.
They're like Doughboy in Boys in the Hood when he's got the hydraulics on his car and he shows up to the block party. Egret's saying that when we attack Castle Black, they're not going to know that we're coming. And John's like, oh, right, when you get the signal of the biggest fire the North has ever seen. And Egret gets so pissed. She just loves going back to that one line.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
And John confronts Oral about cutting him loose.
Oh, yeah, I was about to skip over this.
Oh, yeah, it's a big part.
Great moment. Because Oral said, yeah, I cut her loose, too. You see her bitching about it? John's like, good point.
You know what? I still fucking hate you, but you make sense.
I hate you, and you were awful in those pirate movies, but...
People work together when it suits them. They're loyal when it suits them. They love each other when it suits them. And they kill each other when it suits them. She knows it. You don't. Which is why you'll never hold on to her.
Yeah, this is a scene, too, where Catelyn is starting to get anxious about Robb's plan to return to ask Walder Frey to fight with them, because she already knows that it's a plan that's probably not going to work out, because he's prickly by nature.
Lord Walder is prickly by nature.
Prickly? Is that what you call it? Might be the least pleasant man I've ever met.
Yes, and that is
I've
why we
seen
have to...
wet shit I like better than Walder Frey.
Well, yeah, I mean, they can't go because of the rain, and she says that Lord Walder will see this as a slight. Kind of get the tone of who this guy is from, I guess if you're just watching the show for the first time, you kind of forgot about this character, but I guess it's kind of just setting this page for what to expect when we finally meet him, that he just takes everything as a slight. He's tired of being disrespected. He's just...
Yeah, that's one aspect of it, and the other is Catelyn letting Jaime free. That's really the thing that killed their cause.
Yeah.
That set all of this into motion, because it's how do you anticipate this move, what they're preparing at the Red Wedding? That if Jaime is still in custody, if they still have Jaime, none of this can be set up.
No.
Because Roose Bolton doesn't have the opportunity to make a deal with Tywin Lannister. So I think it's Catelyn, she doesn't know what Jaime is doing, but I think it's all her past mistakes are starting to really weigh on her in this scene. And she gives that look to Talissa when they're all asked to leave. And you could tell that she still feels Talissa doesn't belong here. And that was also a mistake that Robb makes. But it's a great intimate scene between them.
Talk about a fucking power couple, man.
And they're genuinely in love.
It's great. And, when Talissa writes her mother, you ever hear the theories that she's actually writing Tywin? There was a theory on the internet that she was a Lannister spy. I never bought into it, but some people reflect.
They joke about that too, right? When they first meet.
Yeah.
That she's a Lannister spy.
Yeah, some people reflect on this scene oh, maybe she's writing to someone else. But obviously, that's not the case. But
Yeah, Game of Thrones invites a lot of wacky theories. I think because there are so many theories that have come true or are still pending. But everybody looks for something to make a theory out of it. I think it's just a nice little scene.
Yeah, it is. It definitely makes what's going to happen a little more heartfelt. Just
Right.
seeing how they are together, and she drops the bomb that she's pregnant. And I was like, oh, what?
But it gives her a little bit more characterization, that there is a history there. And especially the scene where she talked about when her brother was saved by a slave. It's just adding more to her character.
Yeah, she talks about her mother. It's like, oh, she can't wait to see our grandchild and stuff like that. It's a very nice scene. Ends.
Trying to teach Robb High Valyrian.
Yeah.
Doesn't go so well.
She doesn't do good at that, and she doesn't do a good job at teaching little Ned Stark how to ride horses either. So,
Oh, boy.
well, to be fair, she never got the chance at both.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true. Yeah. It's a short lesson with Robb and no lesson at all for little Ed. But yeah, that scene where he grabs her face and he just tells her, he's like, I love you. It's not a, oh, I love you, babe, good night. It's a, I am obsessed with you, and I really hope you don't die.
I mean, did you see her?
But yeah, another scene with the wildlings, and it's Jon and Tormund. And Tormund, this is Book Tormund. He's giving Jon a hard time. He's talking about doing the nasty.
Give a nice little lesson in the art of the wildling lovemaking.
Yeah, and these are important scenes too, because in season 6, season 7, you see that close bond that Jon and Tormund had, where they really did become friends.
Yeah.
And Tormund is, in a way, he is a man of honor, even though he has to do what he has to do for the wildlings, for his family. But he's a good, decent man.
Yeah, and I think they both see that in each other with these moments, so it makes that relationship later on when he asks them to join them at the wall a little more easier to digest for both of them.
Yeah, exactly. And the scene between Oral and Ygritte, it's disturbing in a way, because it's Oral hitting on Ygritte. He's probably never done this before, and he's just completely jealous, and he kind of knows what Jon Snow is. I think all of them kind of have a hint of it.
It's like a last-ditch effort, like when you find out someone's getting married, you're like, oh, here's my chance.
That was his object. Does
Yeah.
anybody object to this?
Yeah.
Yeah, me, Oral, I object.
It's like, oh, we like him because he's pretty. It's like, yeah, you know?
Yeah, that guy, I mean, he's easy on the eyes. It doesn't hurt.
I mean, yeah, it's fucking Jon Snow you're talking about. You look like a fucking shoe.
He kind of does look like a worn-out shoe. It's been in the rain all day. Yeah, and it's Ygritte kind of realizing, I do love this man, and there's a good chance that he's going to break my heart. Or there's a good chance that this is not going to end well for either of us, and that's furthered in the next scene that they have. But talk about a character who's had a hard time, Sansa. And Sansa in this scene talking with Marjorie, kind of admitting to herself that she keeps getting fooled, that she keeps getting suckered into this idea that she was going to come to the south and see the shining nights and the golden summers of King's Landing. And
At least she finally realizes it.
yeah,
I mean, we've been seeing this play out the whole time we've been rewatching the show, so she's finally caught on. Yeah, I kind of like this because she's like talking about all the negatives that come with Tyrion, but Marjorie's like, oh, did he ever hurt you? Has he ever been mean to you? And she starts bringing the positives of Tyrion because he is the best Lannister to be with.
yeah.
And
Even Sansa realizes, oh, here I am complaining to you. You have to marry Joffrey.
it's kind of like the same thing when she talked to Cersei earlier on, when she was talking about marrying Joffrey and how, but you'll love your children. Marjorie
Yeah.
kind of goes along the same road where she's talking about how your son's going to be Lord of Warden of the North and maybe even
Casterly Rock. Yeah.
Casterly Rock in the Westerlands. So, and it's kind of the same thing. Like, you'll love your child no matter what, no matter who's the father.
And it goes to show that Marjorie's just ahead of the game because she says it herself that young boys, they learn from their mothers, and I plan to teach mine a lot. It would essentially, like Cersei, the way that Cersei had her power, that's how Marjorie feels that she's going to have a control in how the kingdom's run.
I love the thing when she's like, oh, would your mother tell you all this stuff? And she's like,
Oh, well, when they're talking about,
yeah. Like,
they're talking about you don't know what you like until you try it,
Yeah.
tall men, ugly men. That line is so
she's
funny.
like, yeah, my mother.
How do you know all this? Did your mother teach you?
Yes, sweet girl. My mother taught me.
She can't believe it, how naive Sansa is. It's just completely different upbringings. But yeah, I do like all those Tyrion stuff. And I always bring up in the book when Sansa's thinking to herself, what can I say about Tyrion? That he's been nice to me, that he's been good to me, that he's protected me. Marjorie giving Sansa advice, and it's the beginning of the turn of Sansa, where she's starting to see the world with clearer eyes.
And we see the other side of the spectrum with Tyrion when he's talking to Bronn about Sansa. He's still a little hesitant about it. She is very young. But Bronn kind of is like, you kind of want to do it. But
Yeah.
It's such a weird situation, too, because Tyrion's so self-aware of who he is and how other people perceive him. And all the things Sansa went through, it's cruel. He mentions it in past episodes as well. So it's a little weird for him, but Bronn's doing his best to try to convince him, like, yeah, you got this, man.
Yeah, the great line from Bronn, too, is if you waste time trying to get people to like you, you're going to be the most popular dead man in town. Bronn's always given him good advice. But this next scene, the way that they set this man up when he's walking into the throne room, the over-the-shoulder camera angle with Tywin Lannister walking into the throne room to cancel Joffrey, this is one of my favorite scenes in the entire series.
Oh, it's just Tywin completely fucking owning Joffrey, and it's so oblivious to Joffrey, because even at the end, it's like, oh, this is your lesson right here. Like, you've been getting schooled this whole time, son.
Yeah, this is Joffrey Baratheon talking to the king of Westeros.
Yeah.
And the scenery where they got the fireplace going, and
it's done so subtly too, where it's on the outside looking in. If you don't really pay attention to what's going on, it can fly over your head. It's just Tywin just asserting his presence and basically saying, I rule the kingdom.
Yeah.
Just don't worry about anything.
Charles Dance, I mean,
it's
what
like,
can you say?
Yeah, you complain about the small council meetings being held by me. Yeah, you can walk. We'll get someone to carry you up.
We'll get somebody to carry your little bitch ass. And the way that he steps up to meet the Iron Throne, to tower over it, you could see Joffrey kind of slouch into his chair, and he says, yeah, we can arrange to have you carried. But I always say Joffrey makes a very good point here. Tell me about the Targaryen girl. Shouldn't we be more worried about her and her dragons?
I like how they play with this a lot, because they are aware. I feel like in the books they weren't really just flies unmentioned at most times.
Yeah, and it's kind of, I guess it would make sense, because Tywin said he worked under Aerys, and he kept all the dragon skulls in the throne room. They know that they're real, but even at this point, it kind of feels like they are myth. Like maybe somebody just created the dragon skulls out of werewoods. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's in the book, they kind of don't know what's going on in the East.
I think they do, but like it was much earlier, I feel like, in the show.
Yeah,
that makes sense, because when people are watching, like, oh, why aren't they talking about Daenerys? Like, it makes more sense.
Yeah, I kind of like that better. I mean, she's over there fucking sacking these great cities in Essos. You would take notice of that, especially somebody like Varys, who's had a keen eye on her since the beginning. Yeah, but Joffrey was kind of the first one to stress, hey, we need to make sure that we're prepared for this. Tywin's kind of brushing him off, but it's just overall just to see Tywin Lannister exert his power. It's great. And talking about Daenerys, she arrives at the next city that she's going to try and sack, Yunkai. And I like this back and forth between her and Jorah, where Jorah is saying that it's essentially unnecessary. You're just wasting men, you're wasting time. And Daenerys now has a purpose. It's kind of the trials and tribulations, too. She's trying to test out, can she become a conqueror? But her reasoning is that there are over 200,000 slaves. She wants to free them.
Yeah, she meets with the noble lord. I'm not even going to try to do his name. It's something, but
something
she's so cocky in the scene, and I fucking love it.
Oh, so good.
You talk about Tywin, School, and Joffrey. Daenerys just fucking no fear of this guy. Doesn't care what he has to say. She's going to do what she wants, and...
Yeah, I think people have... The way that Daenerys acts in Season 7 kind of turned people off. I think she should have went with this style in Season 7.
It's kind of like patronizing.
She's patronizing, but she's a little playful as well. That she's feeling herself. She is cocky, like you said. She comes off in Season 7 as kind of entitled. Maybe she's just kind of tired of everything. At this point in the show, she hasn't failed yet. She hasn't really experienced the stress of being a ruler, so she's a rookie. She doesn't know what's in store. But by Season 7... Like, just take my word for it. I'm the queen.
Yeah.
Why do I have to keep explaining myself? But yeah, she's very charismatic in this scene. And the way that the dragons, too, respond to the nobleman, where Daenerys makes the deal. And she says, yeah, I'm going to keep your gold. And you know how you're going to pay me as well? You're going to free every slave. And he's like, okay, well, I'm not taking that deal. But Drogon, these dragons, they always look so good.
I just like the whole look of this whole sequence, especially with Dany and this season. It just, you could tell, like, it's just a different area when it cuts to Daenerys. The grading is off. Like, I was trying to picture Rob in that, like, setting, and it just looked weird. It looks almost like kind of Western, like very 70s, the grading. It's very, it's very off, and I like it. It kind of changes the pace, and it sets the tone for the Daenerys scenes in this whole season.
Yeah, and it does feel very exotic and foreign. Like, it is an entirely different world. I love this. I love the way that she sacks this city and takes it over and frees the slaves. That's why we say that Daenerys might be the MVP of Season 3. Well, we'll see. But this next scene between Tyrion and Shae, it's kind of the inevitable end of their relationship here. And it's a sad scene. I mean, what do we keep saying it about Shay. She's not the best actress ever, but I still think she's a better character in the show. And to me, I think it is a heartfelt scene. I think it is a little heartbreaking.
My first thought was like, oh my God, Shay sucks. But then looking into it, like seeing like from her perspective how she might feel like when she's with Tyrion now. He has a younger bride with a name and power, and she's basically nothing. She's afraid of being set aside, where Tyrion's like, oh, I'll get you a nice house with servants and our children well cared for. And it's like, oh, why do I want to have children that can't even see their father? Like, it makes sense for her to be this contentious with the idea of him marrying Sansa.
Yeah, and it just reinforcing, Bronn does it in their scene as well, that Sansa is a lady and Shay is a whore, and that in this society, this feudal society, there is no upward mobility, or it's very rare. So this is just the position that Shay is in, and maybe if circumstances were different, where Tyrion wasn't being forced to marry Sansa, maybe, when Tywin kicks the can, you marry Shay and you bring her up as Shay Lannister. Just on the flip side, to kind of switch it up here, Melisandre and Gendry, where you have a character who doesn't believe that he's worth anything, and Melisandre is telling him, your father was Robert Baratheon, this was his house, King's Landing, that you do have a greater purpose.
Felt like he was nothing, he never knew his father, and to find out he's the big daddy, King Robert.
Big daddy, King Robert,
yeah. It's probably a bit of a shock, but he notices all the burned ships, and she says, oh.
That's great too, yeah. She said, I should have been here bending this shit when they needed me most. I vanished.
Let's go get your blood.
Let's go kill you. But let's have sex first. You brought those leeches from Roose Bolton? Yeah, but it's a great looking scene, and Gendry really has no idea what he's in for. To go back to the Brotherhood, the people that gave Gendry away, and Arya is confronting them about that. The Brotherhood, I've been favorable towards them in this season. They're kind of assholes. Arya, we're going to bring you back. There's Lannisters? Push that back 2 days.
It's just 2 days. But yeah,
how long has she been there? It's
I know.
Come on.
Before that, Beric tries to explain
what he kid.
Yeah, I mean before this though, Beric tries to explain what he did and why the Brotherhood had to do what they had to do with the Red God and all that. Like he's seen it work, and if you're Beric, like he's giving your life back like 6 different times.
Oh yeah, you're doing anything that guy says.
I just fucking met this kid. Take him.
Yeah.
But yeah, they decide to go after the Lannister raiding party instead of bringing Arya to Riverrun, and she is done.
Yeah, I'm out of here. A stupid move. Because of all the things that she could have ran into, I guess the Hound is not the worst. But, I mean, Arya and the Hound throughout Season 4, one of the best pairings that the show has ever done. It's such a great odd couple because there are so many similarities between them and differences. But the Hound is for the same purpose as the Brotherhood, but the Hound is not looking to hunt Lannisters or fight in the war. He just wants to kind of get paid.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna actually bring you to the Riverlands.
Is he just sitting there waiting?
I think so. I really think he was. He's like, this girl's going to get pissed off. She's going to run away, and I'm going to scoop her up. It's a big deal for me. Characters reuniting and then characters leaving each other when Jaime goes to say goodbye to Brienne. Just the end of this scene, to jump to the end when she calls him Sir Jaime.
Goodbye, Sir Jaime.
The look on his face, where he's finally, it's Star-Lord. It's like,
yeah.
Star-Lord.
Star-Lord. Finally.
Somebody is finally respecting me. And for all the people that it could have been, Brienne, you look at the way that their relationship started, just absolutely no respect. She spits at the sight of the Kingslayer.
Well, it's weird too because he kind of knows what's going to happen, and I feel like he doesn't really actually realize it until Qyburn tells him later. But you can tell like he's leaving, she has to stay, and he kind of knows what he's doing, like what's going to happen to her. But he won't like outright accept it until Qyburn actually lays out the plan for him later.
Yeah, it's almost like he's lying to himself.
Yeah.
He's just hoping for the best.
Then we get that great scene where he says, Lannister send their regard.
Yeah, it should have been Jaime Lannister, but...
You will give my regards to Lord Tywin, I trust.
Tell Robb Stark I'm sorry I couldn't make his uncle's wedding. The Lannisters send her regards.
Yeah.
It's a great line, though.
I think they did that because they work so hard of turning Jaime's character around for the audience. So if Roose Bolton says Jaime Lannister sends his regards, then in the eyes of the audience, like, oh, I was just liking this guy, now he's gonna fucking.
It should have been Jaime Lannister.
Oh, I would 100% agree, but I understand.
They probably realized that, and they were like, oh, we need to have him rape Cersei.
God.
You just keep forgetting about that, huh? Right on Joffrey's dead body. I love that too, the goodbye between him and Locke when he says, oh, you have nothing to say. I didn't cut your balls off. I only cut your hand. Locke is a dick.
He sucks.
He really does. And talk about dicks. being cut off.
God, this is just fucking
Oh,
cruel,
this is
man.
the worst. I think this is the worst torture out of all of them. I really think it is.
It's just the whole scene when he's like scared of Ramsey, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, what are you talking about? Oh, we just
Who's
came
this
in here.
Ramsey guy? Yeah, we
Yeah.
just lucky us. We've heard all about your magic flute. And
Yeah. By the way, I'm not buying that Theon's.
you're not buying that he's got the rep like that.
No, he might, but
He's
like
not the Johnny
I don't think
Sins
it's like
of Westeros.
I don't think it's widely acknowledged. Like the first thing people bring up, like in like the Reach, like, oh yeah, hear about that Theon
that Theon
Greyjoy?
kid gets
Yeah,
on
heard
like a
he's-
horse.
heard he hangs dong.
Bong. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's like a northern thing.
I
that they know.
guess.
I love how Theon doesn't recognize that the cross is the sigil for House Bolton, but everybody knows about his giant
Yeah,
appendage.
I think you see it too in season 1 with Roz.
Yeah, you do a little bit. It's kind of just swinging like a pendulum. Yeah, but it's just so messed up. And it's the introduction to Miranda, Ramsay's psychotic, his Harley Quinn, and this other girl who I don't think we ever see again. But it's just so messed
No,
up.
I think they hunt her down.
Oh, yeah, they do hunt her down. Oh, my God. And then Ramsay shows up again with his horn. So, yeah, I'm getting a little jealous. Sorry.
I like how Theon's just like, he's finally just like, all right, fuck it, let's go. It's like,
He kind of is.
yeah.
Even his begs, the way he's begging for mercy, he's kind of just like, kind of over it. It's like, no, don't. All right, whatever. But yeah, I mean, the next scene that they have together is just so funny. But this might be the worst torture.
Yeah. It's just
Out
a
of all.
whirlwind of emotions. First he's scared, then he's like, all right, you know.
All right, well, yeah, let's do this.
It's like, well, yeah, my reputation is pretty solid. You're right. People definitely talk about me. So yeah, that's probably it.
Oh, poor Theon. This is great too when Jon and Ygritte are hunting the, what is that?
Stag?
It's a stag? Is it a stag?
I don't know.
I thought it was an alpaca.
Who cares?
They're not in Peru. Yeah, who cares? But that they focus on Ygritte where Jon's saying, we're too far. You're going to scare him off. You're not going to make it. Cuts. Dead.
Yeah.
So it kind of, they're stressing that Ygritte is a great shot. So when she does try to kill him in the next episode, or in 2 episodes, she could have killed him, but she lets him go. And when she sees the windmill, she's like, is that a palace? It's like, no, it's not a palace.
No, you dumbass.
And he's like, if you saw the Great Keep at Winterfell, you'd swoon. What's swooning? It's fainting. What's fainting? Seems like she's the one who doesn't know anything.
Fainting.
What's fainting?
Well, he gets in deeper, like how they're not going to win. Just telling like they have no.
Yeah, he kind of just gives it to her cold.
Breaks it down for her, and he kind of slips up for a second. Like it's obvious that he doesn't say we, he says you.
Yeah.
She has to remind him quick, and then she just has to remind him that she's still one of them and that he's hers. She says, well, even if we're going to die, I mean, we're going to live the life we have remaining to the best of our abilities.
Yeah, and Oral kind of gives him that lesson too in the beginning of the episode. But just what Jon is saying to her, how ignorant the wildlings are to just history, that is just common knowledge to all the northern boys that grow up in these castles, that the wildlings have tried to march on the wall 6 times, and they failed all 6 times. That we know the heroes, we know the names of the kings beyond the wall and the kings in the north, that you guys basically have no chance. And it's when reality hits you like that, it's tough.
Yeah, life comes at you fast.
Yeah, it does. And it did for Osha. This story that Osha tells Bran and Jojen, and once again she's confronting Jojen about filling Bran's head with black magic. But she knows the truth about what's north of the wall.
Yeah, and they kind of tell her that, well, we're not going to Castle Black. She's like, what?
What?
Picture Bran, this whole thing's been haunting him pretty much for the past couple of years, where the Three-Eyed Raven comes and like he has to find some closure somehow.
Yeah.
You know, she's not really about it. She tells a story about Bruni, our guy Bruni.
Yeah.
It's like a weird name.
I like that name for a guy.
Bruni.
It's very wildling. Hey, Bruni. You find any supper?
And her experience with the whites, so she knows what's out there.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to go back.
No, she's absolutely terrified. And that's why I keep saying that she knows of the black magic and the existence of this black magic, but she kind of just wants to deny it. It's kind of like with Jaime just denying what's going to happen with Brienne. We see that a lot in the show where people know things are true or that they are going to come true. And I love how she hits him with the, I told your maester I was taking you to Castle Black. It's a tough decision to make, too. He's still such a young boy. And Jojen as well and Mira, they're all so young. To make this trek beyond the wall, it's truly one of the most fantastical and magical elements of the show, is Bran's arc going north of the wall.
I don't know, I kind of miss this Bran.
Me too. I don't know if I like or dislike Dr. Manhattan Bran.
It's just fucking weird.
I think it would have been better to keep him with a little personality.
Yeah.
They went too far in one direction. I hate season 7.
And we see Jaime on the road back to King's Landing, and Qyburn's looking at his little stub there.
Yeah, his little nub chub.
It's looking better.
Yeah, it is.
At first, it's like, yeah. But now it's like, yeah.
It's not looking good, but it's looking better than that other thing.
Yeah. And he was telling Jaime about his studies and his experiments and why he got kicked out of the Citadel.
Makes a lot of good points here, too. Points that I kind of make in real life.
Yeah. We
need to start experimenting on people who are alive. I'm on Team Qyburn, man. Come on. No.
Well, get to the point like where Jaime kind of like insults him a little. He's like, well, how many men have you killed? Well, countless. So yeah, I kind of like the rank to countless.
Yeah, I like that. That sounds more elegant. But Qyburn is making a good point. He's talking about all the men that Jaime have killed. How many men have you saved?
Countless has a nice ring to it.
And how many lives have you saved?
500,000. The population of King's Landing.
And Jaime can say this, 500,000.
Yeah.
Or in my book, it's 500 million. But but Qyburn's making a good point. Yeah, I've experimented on people who are dying, but look at what all the good my studies have done. I can bring people back to life into giant robot killers. So
giant robot killers? What show are you watching?
The Mountain. I don't know. He's kind of robotic.
Yeah, I guess.
Hello, Mr.
In
Robot.
nature, but
yeah, it's metaphorical.
And he tells her basically the truth of what's going to happen to Brienne, and so Jaime has to convince our guy Steelshanks to go back to Harrenhal.
Our guy Steelshanks?
Yeah, Steelshanks.
Hey, that's your boy. Locke is my boy.
You're not a big Steelshanks
not
Walton guy?
Not a big. But just to go back for a second, just the moral dilemma that's just hidden in this show. Of all the great things, of all the great elements of Game of Thrones, just another great thing that you could discuss with just friends and have this moral debate of what's right and wrong with Qyburn's tests. It's just brilliant.
There's a lot of you can have a lot of discussions on the various topics that are brought out throughout the series. It's always nice to pick one out. And
yeah, but he goes back to Harrenhal. He's going back for his maiden.
Well, I like how he does it. He basically tells our boy Steelshanks Walton,
your boy.
He's like, yeah, we're gonna get to King's Landing, and my dad's gonna be like, oh, what happened to your hand? And I can either tell him it was you, or I can tell him that you saved me. Yeah, I think we'll go back to Harrenhal.
Yeah, your boy Steelshanks is like, that's putting it simply for me.
Yeah. So, I didn't think of it like that.
Yeah, they return to Harrenhal, and this is scary, man. I mean, bears are... I have a fear of bears.
You know that Twitter meme when you'll put like a picture and then you'll put like the movie title up? The Revenant 2016?
Yeah.
Verbal memes. Yeah. Yeah, it's a great scene. I mean, Jaime goes right in, and he knows that they have to protect him because he's the most valuable asset to them. So he jumps right in, and they start shooting the bear. He's like, whoa.
Yeah, your boy Steely Dan. I love that too. Locke's like, why the fuck are you shooting my bear? Like, how much I pay for this fucking bear?
Like, shut up, Locke, you fucking sick freak.
And we also get some insight into the mindset of Locke, where he tells Jaime Lannister that this gives him more pleasure than any gold or titles could ever give him. That Jaime's chopped off hand gives him that satisfaction, because I think Locke knows that this is who he is. There's really not a chance for him to move up in the world, and it's kind of just a celebration of how fucked up the world is, and that a person can take his pleasure in torturing highborn people. It's a great moment that Jaime goes in to save Brienne, and it's something that you wouldn't expect from Jaime a couple of seasons ago, but look at him now.
Yeah.
He's a hero. It's a great standoff too, man, between Jaime's crew and Locke's crew.
I know.
Yeah, it's great. Qyburn's kind of in the back.
Westerosi standoff.
Qyburn's like, I'm on Jaime's side. It's so funny. Great line, too, when he says, sorry about the sapphires. The perfect, non-cheesy finishing line for an encounter like that.
Brienne walks by, fucking grilling this guy down.
I'll tell you what, she was trying to give that horse the 1-2. She was trying.
The bear?
Yeah, the horse. That would have been a lot easier. I'll tell you what, she was trying to give that bear the 1-2. She wasn't backing down.
Oh, she was ready to go.
Even when Jaime jumps in, he's like, get behind me. She's like, I will not. Shut up, Brienne. Just get behind me. Get the fuck out of the pit.
And he gets her out first, too. Good climbing with one hand, though. He kind of like does a little wraparound.
Yeah, he's got the technique. He learned that from Bran. Yeah, so I think it's not as good as the previous 3 episodes.
But it's probably one of the worst of the season, but it's still a good episode. But saying like the worst of season 3 is like saying
it's like
the
a 9
worst
out of 10
scene in The
almost.
Godfather.
Right. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm a big Godfather guy.
Really?
I'd probably give it like an 8.7 out of 10.
Yeah, maybe like an 8. It's a very good episode. It has some great moments, but it's just like we know what's coming.
Oh yeah, Big Daddy's around the corner,
and it's fucking coming.
Yeah, it's like a fucking thunderstorm. It's bring me Reigns of Castamere. Hey guys, thank you for watching this video, and before we go, I want to quickly thank our Patreon supporters. Without your support, we wouldn't be able to grow and evolve as a channel, so thank you for your generous pledges. If you are interested in supporting our channel through Patreon, visit www.patreon.com/nerdsoup, and you can see the different rewards we offer to our Patreon supporters. T-shirts, mugs, stickers, access to our behind-the-scenes video, and more. Thanks again for watching this video, and make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Or dislike, don't share, and unsubscribe. It's a binary world, folks.